For Gun and Saddle, a United Country M. Edwards Realty and Auction weekly broadcast where we talk about anything and everything related to our God-fearing country lifestyles and the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to make them possible. Join Monty Edwards and Carrie Hanlon as they take a deeper look at the land we all love and the people that call it home. This is Gun and Saddle.
There we go.
Hey guys, how are y'all this morning?
We're doing good.
Good morning.
Great.
We are off the cap. I'm down here in God's country. I went down to see my friends at Turkey, and I got Koree here with me this morning.
Hi, Koree.
Hey, good morning. How are y'all today?
This is the show we've been talking about for a month. You know, we've been looking forward to this. We're down here, gonna be able to sit down here in a minute and talk to Pat and Tina Carson, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But we're actually in one of their units that they rent by the night down here at the hotel, and we'll let them talk about it. But it's one of these storage containers that they've turned into a really cool little apartment. It's got a kitchen and living room and everything. So we're shooting live on site down here today. And so Carrie, tell us a little bit. You always give us your update. What's going on in the life of Kenny and the Littlefield Wildcats? Is basketball cranking up?
We've started, and so we played against Bushland on Monday night, and so we got in volleyball. We got beat out, and so yesterday we had our first scrimmage that Kenny played in. Now the basketball, mind you, they've already been playing, but Kenny went straight in, and we played her first game yesterday. She found out that volleyball shape and basketball shape are two different kinds of exercise, I guess. And so but that's where we're at. Littlefield goes tomorrow. We actually play tomorrow at Roosevelt, I believe. And so it's big. There's like all these different scenarios that we have, like we've got to win and so's got to lose, and it's crunch time for the playoffs. It's exciting. That's fun.
Yeah, this is the last week of regular season across the board in the state of Texas. So, you know, and it fell this year where everybody's going to play a little bit of November football. So that doesn't always happen. But another thing, I know a lot of guys know this week, we had a pretty much general freeze up on top. I don't know. We'll talk to Pat and Tina about that here in a minute and see if they got a freeze down here. But we had I would say a freeze all the way down south as far as south of Levelland the other night. And looks like you can tell by driving around, I really was starting to see the effects of it yesterday. But a lot of guys are in full-blown harvest mode right now as we're starting to strip a lot of cotton. And I know some guys were waiting on that freeze on some of their cotton, but got a lot of that kind of stuff going on. You know, we're going to talk when we get to the end of this episode about some things that we've got coming that are really going to be exciting on Gun and Saddle too. So, you know, I think what we'll do, because we've got a lot to talk about with Pat and Tina, we'll just go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, they'll be with us, and we'll begin our interview with Pat Tina Carson with Hotel Turkey.
The time has come to sell, but who can you trust to help? This isn't just dirt. It's the place your children took their first deer.
Honey, that's a giant.
The value of the timber is the old wooden stand you just can't bring yourself to tear down. The roads may be gravel, but they access countless memories. This is more than lines on a map. It's your small piece of heaven.
Heck yeah.
This is your property, and that's why we want to be your agent. Realty United Country. Turn your passion into possibilities.
Freeze the peanut.
We're back. Nice commercial.
Right, well, I'm gonna let Koree introduce our guest today. We've been working on this for a long time. So
We're here with Pat and Tina at Turkey Hotel in one of their containers, and we're really excited to have them on and let us know what goes on a day in their lives.
Y'all are coming through pretty good, but you're
You know, Pat,
a little bit on us.
What did you say?
The jar coming through, like the voices, the audio is coming through pretty good. You're freezing up just a little bit on us though, video wise.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe we'll do that.
Okay. Cool.
Hopefully it won't. If it does, we'll go to commercial break and try to reconnect. But just kind of let us know. So anyway, Pat, Tina, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So I'm just going to ask you this question to start off. How long has the hotel been in operation and open?
Well, its claim to fame is it's never closed. It was built in 1927, and it's supposed to be the oldest continuously operated hotel in Texas. Now, I tell people all the time, there's a lot of times it probably should have been closed, but it never was. When we bought it, it was in pretty rough shape. But that's the story, is it's the oldest continuously operated hotel in Texas.
I actually came several years ago. My wife and her sister and brother inherited a place down here at Flomont, and we came and stayed at the hotel before you guys owned it. And
Right.
I would echo those sentiments.
Yeah.
It looks a lot. But no, actually, it was cool. I remember we stayed in it, and my son was with me, and we had, he couldn't believe we had to go down the hall to go to the bathroom, and I left him in the room, and he was in 4th grade, I think, and he said, "Don't do that again."
That's
So,
fun.
no, it was really cool. We stayed there, and I remember then, it was cool. I know definitely there were some things that y'all done a lot of work on the hotel, but my gosh, it was just neat to be in a place that has been open ever since. I mean, never closed. So, and I remember hearing that. That's why I wanted to bring that up. So, what year did you guys actually purchase the hotel and begin this endeavor?
We bought it in 2015 on a whim, and I'm not sure why, but we did. And we've never quit working on it. We've been working on it ever since.
Yeah, we Cody Bell owned it. Here, he's a rancher here, local, and it was one of those things. He kept, I don't know why he picked us, but he was like, "Y'all need to look at that. Y'all need to come look at that and buy that from me." And if you live in Turkey, I mean, you've always looked at the hotel and thought, "Wow, wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be cool?"
Yeah.
And so we kept looking at it, and we kept going, "But man, we're crazy. Are we crazy?" And yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, they might be a little bit.
But yeah, we dove in and bought it from him, and like Pat said, we started working on it because it needed a lot of work, and I always say some days it looks like we've done a lot of work, and some days it looks like we just have a lot more to do.
Depends on which side of the
Yeah.
mountain you're looking
And
at.
both are true. Both
Yeah.
are true.
I think it looks great.
Well, and I would like for you to tell us a little bit about kind of where you were in life when that started, because I know Tina and I met at Tech. We were
right.
both in food technology class.
That's
I believe
right.
first time.
Well, that's kind of the
2 years ago.
crazy part of that is we didn't need to buy the hotel, and we chased our kids really, really hard when they were growing up, and we still had 2 kids at home. Our daughter, when we bought the hotel, she was a sophomore, and here at Valley, and she made no bones about calling it Hotel Hell. But it changed our life a whole lot because we spent all our time here, and we were already really busy people, and then this just added to it. And we started under unusual circumstances, and we thought when we bought the hotel that we were going to work on it one room at a time and take our time, and then immediately the Travel Channel called and wanted to come here, and they stayed with us for 3 days, and the hotel's a wreck. And we actually, all our friends helped us, and we got tile down in the lobby for them and painted the lobby. Tina had ordered furniture from someplace fancy for our living room. We took all our living room furniture out of the house and put it in the lobby, and we fixed up 2 rooms upstairs. We actually went to the state park superintendent's house and took the rugs off of his floor and the pictures off of his walls about the state park and the bison, and made one room a bison room. And then we went to the Bob Wills Center, into the Bob Wills Museum, and got some of the Bob Wills stuff and made a Bob Wills room and a state park. And it was all superficial. None of it was
Built to last.
hours.
Yeah.
Threw a coat of paint on, threw some new sheets on the bed, and had the Travel Channel here and we'd only owned the hotel about a month and a half,
Yeah.
a month probably. And then I told my wife, so they wanted to have something on a Sunday, and I said, well, we've got to do something to keep these people out of this nasty hotel. And so I called my friend Jason Roberts from Austin and asked him if he'd come up and play the fiddle. And we told all our friends to come, and we had a cookout. We cooked bison burgers and turkey something, I forget what. And Jason brought a band with him, and our oldest son and our 2 nephews were going to school in Lubbock at the time. And I called them and told them to wear cowboy hats and bring pretty girls. They danced, and those people, they loved it. At the time, it's Turkey, Texas, you know. At the time, they all sent postcards home. They were all from California, those Travel Channel people were, and they were super kind. But they all sent postcards home. Well, the postmaster showed them to me. And, they had the sweetest, kindest things about the sunsets in Turkey and not wanting to leave, and you know all the things. They didn't say nice things about the hotel, but they did say a lot of really, really sweet things about the area. And
it was a crazy way to kick off owning the hotel, but it definitely set some standards for us. We having the music at that first kickoff party kind of set.
I just sitting there listening to all the different things you were hitting, and it was a lot of points I wanted to kind of bring out today about just what y'all epitomized with the whole thing. So that's cool. I mean, you kind of hit all of it right at the start, or a lot of it.
Yeah.
One thing about the hotel is people ask us all the time, but we didn't have a grand plan. I mean, it's not like we had this big vision, and no, we just woke up every day, and whatever happened, we just rolled with it, and wound up and we're still doing that. Kind of wound up where we are today. You know, we didn't. I wish I could say, we did this because we're smart. No, that's not the case.
Well, you know, one thing that you were mentioning there that you said, and it's kind of neat to hear you say right from the get-go, but I've noticed this when I've come down, and it seems like you've got such good support from family and community that come in and help make this deal go with y'all so much. I mean, that's just a really cool thing about Turkey and Valley school system and all, is how y'all's community so tight knit.
It is. It's really cool. I mean, one of the things, like Pat said, when we were starting and we were trying to pull up some tile in the lobby, and at that point, everybody was coming by because they wanted to see it and like what's going on, and you know, it hadn't really been super open to the public at that time, and so even local people hadn't like come in and toured the hotel in a while. Wow. So like we were literally, I mean, my sister-in-law Jay was just in charge of tours. So people could see what was going on, you know, so we could keep working. But people would just come by and be like, oh, let me chip out some tile for an hour, and let me help you move this furniture or sweep this. Or, I mean, it was really like a little bit overwhelming how nice and supportive everybody was. It's just, I mean, it's crazy. Didn't expect that.
Well, and you know, with our Gun and Saddle podcast, I mean, you guys are like poster children for what we want to talk about on this podcast, because, you know, I've talked to so many people that move here and they have to come here sometimes for work. I'm talking about here in general, just the vicinity of the Panhandle, South Plains, West Texas, Off Cap, all this area. But they always say, the ones that stay always say the main reason they stay is the people. You know, there's other reasons. There's a lot of things. I mean, we really have some good weather here, even though we get picked on for saying we've got some bad days. But we've got some pretty outstanding weather a big part of the year. But really the thing, time in and time out, that people will draw a distinction on about this part of the world are the people and the lifestyle that people live. So, you know, I think one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about some, and you touched on it a while ago, was the music venue aspect of what y'all are doing here. And Koree and I have come out here a few times. I've come over when we've been visiting, and we've come over, and you know, I would like to kind of let y'all talk a little bit about how Bob Wills has helped. You know, the fact that this is the hometown of Bob Wills, and how that's helped, but kind of how the music venue got started and how where it is today. So just lay some groundwork there.
Well, you know, Turkey's known for music because of Bob Wills, for sure. And a lot of times people think we just kind of I just told that story. We just kind of worked our way into that music thing. We knew when we bought the hotel and tried to service a restaurant and all the things, we knew there just flat aren't enough people right here to support what we do. And while we want to be the hub for the community, we got to bring people from other places in. And Tina always says, we just do things that we like. We are music people, very much music people. Obviously, food people.
Me too, yeah.
So, you know, we try to serve good food, try to have good music, live music, give people. And send them to the
we have
sand
a
pit.
sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, my kids have played it.
Yeah.
Their parents don't worry
my
about their
grandkids.
kids because
Right.
they know they're in the sandbox.
They're in the sandbox and a fence. You know, our entire property's fenced off, so you can kind of relax just a little bit. On the music, we, like I already said, we started with Jason Roberts, which is a pretty dang good way to start.
Yeah.
If you can get a guy that's won a couple of Grammys to come play for you out of the goodness of his heart, that's not a bad thing. And then after that, it's kind of interesting. We started trying to find local musicians, you know, and some were good, some weren't as good, and a lot of them were guys that are used to playing in bars, and you know, we kind of went through that thing. But when we started all that, I didn't know you were supposed to treat musicians bad when they played for you as a venue owner. I didn't know it. They get treated awful in most places they play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we treated them like I would treat anybody. I would never ask anybody to work for us. We didn't pay, so we tried to make sure they made money. We would feed them good. Normally they'd be drinking beers or something. I didn't want them drinking and driving, so we'd always give them a room to stay in because they're all coming from Fort Worth or Lubbock or wherever. So we'd always give them a place to stay, feed them breakfast, and send them on their way in the morning. Well, I just didn't know you weren't supposed to be nice to them. And that paid us in dividends more than anything else we've done. Those guys appreciated that, and a lot of those
and spread the word.
and a lot of those real serious, well-known musicians that you can go in most venues in Fort Worth, you'll find somebody in there playing a guitar or wearing a Hotel Turkey t-shirt or a Hotel Turkey cap or something. Yeah. It's really worked out where they come through and they stop by and see us on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes play for us, sometimes just stop by. It's really worked out that now we get the good ones. You know, we'll get 10 emails a week from different musicians that want to come play here, and there's some of them that are fantastic. There's some of them that are terrible.
Yeah.
And so now we have to kind of vet that and go through that whole thing and make sure that our quality is where it needs to be. But back to Bob Wills, a lot of people thought when we bought the hotel, because we're in Turkey, that we would have fiddle music every weekend, that we'd have Western swing all the time. Well, that's absolutely not what we want to do. We want to have a pretty good variety. So sometimes, and most of it's Americana, most of it's just straight up songwriters. We love to have songwriters come. But then we might have guys that are more blues guys or more rock and roll guys. And then we do our fair share of fiddle music too. Mm-hmm. You know, we kind of hit it all.
But yeah, and to go a little further on that, I think Bob Wills has had an influence on our entire community. Right. And you can't say you're from Turkey without somebody saying, "Oh, Bob Wills," you know. And honestly, like, that's fantastic for us, and it definitely has taken us a long ways. I definitely think we've, people get now that we don't just have Western swing. We love to have Western swing. Mm-hmm. And, Bob Wills Week, we have a lot of Western swing, and that's what people are here for. And so we want to be known for that. But Bob Wills has definitely influenced our entire community and our entire area where people expect music. Right. Period. Yeah. I mean, yes, they might be here because of Bob Wills, but when they find out just music in general, they're like, oh, that makes sense. And that's, it just fits.
Talk a little bit about what y'all done with the hotel and the music venue aspect of it, because none of that was there when y'all started, as far as what y'all built on there.
No, it's the same. I started talking about it a minute ago. We knew for us, because we have, roughly on Friday and Saturday nights, we've got 20 people working. Now, thankfully, some of them are on the payroll. Some of them work for us week in and week out. They're our friends. And, they show up and help us cook steaks and, whatever needs doing. But we can't sustain that. There just flat aren't enough people locally. We knew that we had to bring people in from other places. And then it just seemed like it was a thing to do. Once we started with Jason and, started kind of working that way, it just seemed like the thing to do, to try to encourage people. We were doing something that nobody else does. They do it in the hill country, you know, or in Austin or whatever, but nobody in the Panhandle does what we do, that I know of. And we were just trying to grow and figure out a way to make people want to come here, and that's kind of our vibe, you know, just kind of what we do.
And we name everything. We call it what it is. Like the back patio is the back patio. It's not necessarily a venue name.
Yeah.
Containers. We're in the containers.
Yeah, we're in
The
the
containers.
We have the silo bar, you know, in the
That's
hotel.
what people like about it, because
Yeah.
it's not anything. They're not advertising something they're not.
Yeah.
Just
And
is
so,
what it is.
so the back patio was partially there, and we saw a, you know, future for, or we saw a place to actually have music, and we have definitely. We've just used it and or changed it a little bit, but we've used it in general, and then we built the cover for it. And you know, in the winter, like right now, we're in the process of putting sides around the patio because it's cold, and we have heaters, but we try to stay outside most of the year because that's where we fit people, and that's just what we do. So so definitely just like the rest of our business model, we've just you know, flown by the seat of our pants and hey, we need more chairs, and we get more chairs. We need more patio. We need more patio. You know,
it's good to be needing more of something.
It
that
is.
means things are growing and going good.
Yeah, no doubt.
We one of our friends that works for us quite a bit, Michael Vasquez from Lubbock. He was introducing some people one day, and I heard him say that our back patio was like a big picnic.
Mm-hmm.
That it was kind of like a big family picnic,
Mm-hmm.
and I always kind of kept that in my mind. That,
well, and Albert calls it the backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, this is the backyard.
Yeah.
Everybody's out there in the backyard to hang out, and so that's great if that's what people.
Well,
think.
an important point I think too, though, is that that's so lost for a lot of people because they don't experience that anymore.
Right.
We grew up living these things that y'all are talking about. All of us, we sat with family, we had meals, we sat on the back patio, we sat out, the kids played in the yard. You know, I tell you many nights sitting on the back patio listening to music, and you know, we'd have a band back there, but we would have loved it if we did.
Right.
and
Absolutely.
and so and you know, the first time I came here after y'all kind of had made the start to getting this going, and I mean, I was in the front lobby talking to folks, and I was already talking to people, and it was like a lot of people from Dallas and other places that were coming in for the weekend. And so tell me a little bit about that. What's your cycle? I mean, are y'all get hit? Does the hunting season have a big impact on your business here as well?
You know, obviously, spring, summer, and fall are our busiest times.
Mm-hmm.
When hunting season gears up, when we first started the hotel and doing what we're doing, we would get very few hunters. Now, there's a lot of hunters that will actually bring their RVs and set them up in our RV park so they can come, eat, and, you know, and a lot of these ranches, if Matt, that was at the hotel we just spoke to, he drives over from East Texas to go hunting. Well, if he's staying out on the deer lease and he gets here and it's rained 2 inches, he can't get out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if he brings his camper to the hotel, he's always got a place to stay, and then he can go out there in the morning. And we have more and more people that have kind of figured that out. And you know, hunters are hunters. There's some of them that, you know, that wear the face paint and stalk deer and all that. But some of them really just come to hang out and drink beer and not get home. And so they can tell their wives they're hunting, you know, out in the tundra. And they're really sitting in the hotel drinking beer.
Got running water in the toilet. And
But to answer your question, there is hardly a weekend of the entire year that we're not booked, that we're not completely booked. And if, you know, they definitely book up faster some weekends, and depends on hunting, depends on our music, depends on the weather and all that kind of thing. But we definitely stay busy. But we definitely, like Pat said, we see, you know, different cycles of different people. Hunters for sure, like this weekend is opening gun. And so we've got several hunters. One of the biggest compliments to me, and Pat doesn't see it as much because he's not looking at the booking, but we get so many return customers. I mean, you just can't, whether it's hunters or people that just want to come hang out or get out of the DFW area, we get a lot of that. You know, we make friends. In fact, you know, there was somebody that hadn't been here in a while that that used to come every weekend or not every weekend, every month or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You know, how's your family? I mean, it's like, if we don't see them, we're like, what's going on? And so it's been a really cool experience to make those friends that you did not expect.
Yeah.
But, you know, we definitely get different cycles of people. And starting.
Sorry, that was a mishap. I was trying to get back on the front page.
That's all right. My cue to.
No. I was going to hope the show's not over. I'll still got more questions here.
On that, one of the things that I'll say that has been interesting for me at the hotel, because we have made so many friends, more than we can count. I grew up and my friends were just like me and you, same people, you know, country folks, you know, country kids, whatever. Since we've owned the hotel, and that's all I've ever known, really. Since we've had the hotel, I've made really, really good friends with a bunch of people that are absolutely nothing like me, that are completely different lifestyle, completely different ideas, and but they're great people, you know, and that's one of the things that really surprised me is that, you don't wear boots. What's up with that? You know. Anyway.
Well, and that's a point. The last few years we've been sponsored with the Clovis horse sale, which actually is now at Lively Land. It's kind of a unique story. COVID kind of pushed them into Texas, and they decided to stay. But during that's been a unique experience for us, because what we've kind of seen, and I don't know what you want to call it. I sometimes call it the Yellowstone phenomenon, but people started watching shows. They started coming to things. We get people coming by the booths and talking to folks, and they had nothing to do with horses, nothing to do with anything. They just were intrigued by Western culture. And you know what's been interesting is that's the same thing that's happened for us. I mean, met lots of folks that honestly didn't start out thinking they cared anything about any of the stuff I cared about, and I didn't necessarily know that I cared much about anything they cared about. But we had a lot of common threads, and I think, that's something that's lost in America anymore. You know, people kind of get in their little box, and everybody can kind of go dial up their entertainment with exactly what they want. And you get in a place like this, and the thing I've noticed when I'm here that I love is, aside from people taking a few pictures, they're not sitting on their phones texting and looking at social media. They're actually being social.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so.
We love stuff like that in our family, because you're seeing less and less of that in the big picture. So
for sure.
You know, I'll give the girls a chance that are in the office at Sudan. Koree, Maddie, I mean, has there been anything come up so far? Do y'all have any questions that y'all want to ask Pat and Tina? Putting them on the spot here, but
Oh man.
I did ask earlier if I could ask this, but I know everybody out there wants to know if that place is haunted. I need for y'all to just kind of how you answered me earlier, but you do when you're not from up there, people are always, oh, that place is haunted. I had some, like I was saying earlier, I had some guys that worked for Atmos Energy, and we had to do a replacement out there. And so a bunch of them were coming up there and staying, and their stories when they came back, I was like, guys, how many beers did y'all have? And they were like, no, really? And so I've always heard stories, and so I think it's just interesting to ask that.
Well, we get that question a lot, honestly. And I mean, kind of our general answer is, do you want it to be haunted? we can tell you a story either way. But honestly, and since it's the day after Halloween, this is a good thing to bring up. News Channel 10 out of Amarillo, about 6 or 7 years ago, did a little Halloween story. You can find it on Facebook. Usually at Halloween, it resurfaces. But they did a really good job. We had a ghost hunter that had wanted to come he'd called me since the day we bought the hotel and wanted to come. And I wasn't opposed to it. I was like, oh, whatever, we'll see. But I just never had got it done. And this little young news reporter that was working for News Channel 10, I guess he'd called her. They got this Halloween story, and they came out and did it. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was very interesting. You'll just have to watch it. But anyway, he definitely found activity. So that's a whole nother story about the equipment he used and all that. But it was very entertaining, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm not a believer. I've had some employees that would swear that they have seen things or heard things or weird things have happened. And I have some really real trustworthy guests that are like, well, some weird things did happen. But it is almost 100-year hotel. The squeaks and the creaks and all that are definitely there. And then, like, there's it's got 2 glass doors at the front of the hotel. And if they're both closed and you walk towards them, like, you get some crazy glass reflection shadows. I mean, so there's some explainable things, but, you know, I won't say that people haven't seen things that aren't explainable.
I think we're in the process. We're about half done putting new windows in the hotel, and I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks we'll have them all put in. But the hotel's real drafty, or it's a lot better now, but pretty drafty, so doors can slam and
hopefully
that kind of thing.
Yeah, hopefully the windows get rid of a few of the ghosts.
That's what I was gonna say. That's going to take away your ghosts.
Yeah. But definitely, there's a definite. If you're a believer, there's a definite room you walk into the hotel and ask for.
We've actually had people leave because they looked at YouTube. You know, they looked up something, Googled something about the hotel, and it said it was haunted. And they would call Tina and say, "We left. You didn't tell us the hotel was haunted. Why didn't you tell us that?"
Well, I don't really. Yeah.
So, good question.
I like the answer. It depends on what you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's customer service.
We aim to please.
I don't want to stand.
You know, another thing that you guys touched on earlier, and I wanted to bring it up just for folks that aren't familiar with this area, because it is a big attraction around here, but it's Caprock Canyon State Park. And
that's great.
Y'all get a lot of folks that come in, I would assume. That
We do.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people, however they find out about the hotel or find out about Turkey, Texas, you can bet that if they've never been here before, they're going to get a room here at the hotel, maybe one of these containers. They're going to get up the next morning and go straight to the state park to see the bison.
I mean, and a lot of our summer guests, I mean, not all year round, but most of our guests are going to go to the park at some point. Even if they're here for a different reason, you know, we're going to tell them about it, and most of them visit it. And so, but we definitely get a draw from people that are going to the park. And, you know, there's a lot of people that go to state parks that have campers or tent camp or whatever, and they'll come over and eat. But then knowing, you know, before we started remodeling and redoing the things we do, I mean, it was a little harder to stay at Hotel Turkey. But now that people know you don't have to camp. You can actually have a place to stay and go to the park. I mean, it's helpful.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think the thing that's just really cool out there is a lot of folks can really see some, I call them big time picturesque movie type views out there. Yeah. It's just unbelievable. And you know, that's, you know, we're in the real estate business, and we know when we list places that have those big sky views and all that, but y'all have got so much country down here that's just beautiful. And it's rugged, not to mention right in the heart of the central part of the heart of cowboy country. I mean, when people want to talk about cowboys, the thing that's always cool, you just go eat lunch here. Those aren't B-real actors y'all got coming in. I mean, those are the real article. And it's just, you know, my wife grew up in Matador. Y'all know her. And, of course, Koree's family. But, you know, it was really neat when I married into her family, because we came down. And, you know, my family's been on top. We've been in production agriculture and had animals and livestock. But I remember the first time I was down, I went out on the farm with her granddad, and we were caking the cows, and he was showing me everything. And, you know, I was just taken back. I thought, man, this is so cool, because I'd really never been off cap on a place like that. It was just a real work, you know, just regular old ranch country, and had just so many things that just jumped out at you that you just don't see every day.
Yeah.
And I know if you're living around here, you probably don't think that much about them, but I think that's what you're talking about earlier, where people come and y'all are just living your life that you're living, and it's just really cool to a lot of people. So
I think that's true.
Yeah.
One thing that when we bought the hotel, we traveled a lot to a lot of boutique hotels and tried to figure out things we liked and things we didn't like and whatever. We wandered to Marfa, Texas a number of times, Fort Davis and that whole Big Sky area. And one night, Tina and I went to see the Marfa Lights. And there's an observatory and all the things out there. And we went to go see the Marfa Lights. And it was pretty cold. And we're standing out there looking at the big sky, you know, whatever. And we said, you know what? I guess if you're from San Antonio, this is cool. But if you're from Turkey, Texas, it's really not like that. It's cold. Let's go.
Let's go. That's pretty
You can walk out and see the stars.
Well, so along that lines, when we got you here, I know you touched Bob Wills. Everybody's familiar with Bob Wills Day, but you guys have really kind of started doing a few things on a more of an annual basis. I'd say that y'all do that come up. I don't know if you do them the same every year, but I've been here for a few different things. You got your big area out here. You have concert stage and some stuff. Tell us about some of the things that you guys are doing now that are unique to what y'all started.
Well, we try to have at least 2 concerts a summer on the big stage. Jay Cooker, he'll be a staple for us forever. That's a great show, and people really come out for it. We booked the Red Clay Strays here last year, and it wound up getting rained out, and they set up in our in our music shed, and it was one of the most surreal shows. We can't reproduce that. It was so cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
And now they're like,
yeah,
the big cow. I mean, we will never be able to
have
get
them
back.
again. But we try to do a couple of big things a year and not go crazy. We are right in the middle of town, so we can't do too much of that. Plus, that's an awful lot of work. So while we want to do some of that, we're not going to do it all the time. We just finished our 2nd year of Songwriter Festival, where we invite songwriters from around the state to come in, and that's gone over really, really well. We probably had 16 well-known songwriters here this last year. Some from East Texas, some from Mike McClure was our Friday night songwriter headliner. Mike wrote most of the songs for Cross Canadian Ragweed, and then he's the lead of The Great Divide. You might remember that band from. But he also
Back in our day.
Yeah, back in y'all's day. But he also produces everybody from Stoney LaRue to several. Yeah. And so he was here, and we just finished our 2nd year of that, and it was really, really cool. We're trying to work on more of a cowboy symposium show that I'm hoping we can get some other businesses in the area involved in. And we thought we were going to be able to do that with Andy Hedges, who's a cowboy poet and singer from Lubbock. But I don't think we're going to be able to pull it off this February. I just don't think we have enough time to coordinate it like we want to. But I will tell you, one of the most exciting things we've got going that I am extremely excited about, we, with the help of a videographer named Charlie Stout, he's a songwriter and very good photographer, videographer. We've been producing videos in our boot shop called the Boot Shop Sessions, where we just released Ross Cooper's yesterday. We'll have our own YouTube channel, and those guys are coming in. We're producing professional quality videos of their songs and giving them a copy of them to hopefully to add value to their experience at the hotel. Obviously we can't pay those guys thousands of dollars for coming to the hotel, and some of them deserve it. They come here because they love to come here, but we can package a video and give them that they can use for their own purposes. We've got about 13 of them done now. We release our first one will be Jamie Lynn Wilson. I think we released that on the 6th, which is next week. Jamie's video is great. We've got Ron Colwell coming up after that. Later on, Mike McClure drove over and did one for us. I'm super excited about it because I think it's great. Yeah, they're great videos for one. They're great for the artist. You know, they're to me, it's a big deal for our fans that love music like we love music, but maybe couldn't be here when Jamie Lynn was playing. Yeah. You know, and now they can at least catch a little of that magic that because Jamie's a killer, right? You know, she's great. And anyway, it's as much fun and it's exciting opportunity as we've had since we've had the hotel. I think it's really, really neat. I think it's good for our area because those videos will go out to people like Jamie Lynn. Yeah. Jamie Lynn's got 39,000 Facebook followers and 25,000 Instagram followers. Oh, wow. Well, all of those videos, her videos are going to be tagged with Hotel Turkey. I don't know when she's going to release them. If she releases them, they're hers to do whatever she wants with. Right. But those are all people that like what we like. Yeah. You know, so if we can just get 1% of those people to Google us and think about coming to Turkey, Texas to check out what we got going on, that's a big deal. Yeah. And we've got, like I say, I think we've got about 14 or 15 of them done. They're not all going to make our YouTube. We're going to make them and give them to all the artists, but some of them aren't going to make our YouTube. And then we're going to start the next season. We've got big plans to we've already had calls from people that are wanting to come and do some when we start our next set of them. And it's just pretty cool.
Yeah, exciting.
Well, and I'll tell you, if you will get me those links once this interview will be up indefinitely on our YouTube channel, and we can share those links to your YouTube channel,
right? So
folks can find that, because that's really cool. And it's just fun listening to y'all, because I mean, honestly, I've been watching y'all ever since you started this. Like I say, I met Tina in college, and I knew Tina a little bit from FFA and some other stuff, but you guys to me are just really knocking the ball out of the park down here. But it's just really refreshing to see how, there's not a lot of people in our generation that look around these little towns and realize that, hey, we've got nothing but blue sky, good stuff ahead of us. And that's really the truth if we do what you guys do. And so I just really appreciate that. And
thank you.
I mean, I could sit and talk to you guys all day long. Y'all hit so many of the things that I wanted to talk about. Koree, do you have anything else that you wanted to ask them as far as? Is there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up? I've got a couple more questions, but I just want to give y'all a chance to if there's anything y'all want to tell everybody about what's going on here.
This might be one of your questions, because you mentioned talk about the containers a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I do want to talk about this.
So it's been really cool for us. And again, it's not like we're done. We've still got work. The windows we're putting in the hotel is one of the most, that's something we wanted to do from day one. Also, one of the most expensive things you can do in a hotel with this many windows. So we're so excited. We've had a little help from our economic development board and saved some money.
And we had a lot of help from Matt Abrams from Camtex Roofing.
Absolutely.
We couldn't have done it if it wasn't for those guys. They've been awesome. So.
Awesome. Yes, friends
helping us. Shout out to them.
And so that's happening, but ultimately, we've still got a lot of work. But we got where we were so busy, we were full every weekend. Every weekend. And you sit there, and we've got several places in town that we recommend to people. There's some Airbnbs and another guy in town that has some rooms that we send to all the time. But we were like, well, how can we add on? What can we do? So we, like Pat said, we visited some different hotels, lodging places, and just started getting ideas. And we went to a couple of places that we talked about Airstreams, to be honest. First, we have an Airstream. We love our Airstream. And that was right before COVID. Well, when COVID hit, Airstreams went
through the roof,
sky high. You couldn't even find one. Then we started also getting contractors, and Turkey's hard. But we started looking at the work you have to do to them. And it was like, you might as well build something. So then we went and looked at some cabin type, and we stayed in a couple of shipping container rooms. And I told Pat, I was like, this is it. This is what I think we want. Just you could do a lot of different things. And so we stayed in some and got some ideas, and basically went and talked to Excalibur in Graham, Texas, and kind of talked about what we wanted. And anyway, that's how these shipping containers came about. We got 3. We did the plumbing and electric for 5, because we ultimately thought that's what we wanted, and then we put 3 in to see if it would work. It did. They were successful, so we added the other 2 a year later. And anyway, they've been super popular. They give a little, so the difference in the hotel is obviously a hotel that's built in 1927. The rooms are small. Contrary to what most people think, every room except 2 in the hotel has their own bathroom. So that's good. But still, the rooms are small, the bathrooms are small. It's just it's loud, it's creaky, haunted, whatever. But there's definitely things that are going to happen in a 1927 hotel. So these are new, obviously. So they've got, some new qualities. They've got a little more room. They're private, they're quieter. A lot of hunters do like these because they can come out here, and if it's a hog hunter, they can sleep all day and nobody's going to bother them. There's no outside noises. And so that's where we ended up with these.
I love the way it's just kind of off in its own little area. Yeah. And like Pat was talking when we were walking out here, if you want to get away from everything, you can. Yeah. If you want to go back over and be in the middle of everything, you can do that too. Yeah. So.
Well, what a funny question we got. Somebody was going to stay in one of these, and they were like, so those.
What the heck just happened? Okay, just 1 second. There they are.
How much did y'all miss? Did you
Just
lose
for
us for a
like
bit?
5 seconds, I think. You're good.
Okay.
Well, they asked, like, do they have air conditioners or windows? Or I'm like, yeah, they do.
They're not just shipping
We're
containers.
not gonna
You
lock
need
you
to
in
clarify that. Yeah.
But like I said, we call it what you call it. We tried to come up with some little clever name what to call these, and we call them the containers.
Yeah.
We've got one customer. He calls them the villas.
The
If
villas.
you
I
want
like
to call
that.
it a
Yeah.
villa, that's great.
Yeah. Well, they're really neat, and I took a chance to walk through this one and look at it. I mean, they're laid out perfect. I mean, it's just everything you could want in a really nice room with a kitchenette.
They're cozy.
Yeah, they're good. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I know that y'all have had some key people involved with y'all that have been here a long time, and it's been cool. Like you said, you got all these people that help. Is there any shout out y'all want to do to anybody that's just? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot because I don't want you to leave anybody out.
No, I don't mind saying at all that one of the things that when we started that every small business struggles with, we have struggled so much with help, and we finally got to the point where we found people that fit us, because the hotels work, and it's worked for every person that works here. There's a lot of people that think, well, I've worked in a cafe before, can I come work for you? Yeah, it's not a cafe. It's busy, and it's a long ways from the kitchen to the back of the patio, and it's just work. But we're so lucky to have found great people. Carly, the middle, has worked with us now for 5 years.
5 or 6,
6 years.
Yeah.
She does a lot of our social media, but she also is usually out front at the hotel. Is all about doing whatever we need to do, and she's taught us a lot about. There's when you're trying to run something like this, you don't know what you can do, what you can't do, and so when something new comes along, and we're thinking, well, we don't have an employee that can do that. Well, Carly can go to them and talk them into doing it, show them how to do it, and make it work. When we're going, I don't know how this is going to work. Well, she'll put the work in to do it, and she's been so much help to us, and elevated everything we do here in a lot of ways. We have several that have worked for us forever. Albert
has worked for us from day one, and if you've stayed at the hotel, you've experienced Albert cooking you breakfast. and honestly, I tell Albert all the time, how important I don't just give him compliments. Yeah. He gets his big head now if Albert watches this. But honestly, like on a Tuesday, Albert might be the only person that a guest experiences. And it's a good experience because Albert's full of personality. He's smart. He asks questions. He's full of something. But honestly, our regular guests, especially like Matt, that Pat already said was here, he brings Albert a gift every time. He knows Albert likes this kind of sausage, and he brings it. And, he's been here from day one, and he's tried to leave a couple of times, but it didn't work out. God did not have that in his plans. And Christy McWilliams is another one. She is the hardest working woman I have ever met in my life. I grew up with Christy, and I think she works 3 jobs, but she
and the sweetest,
and the sweetest, yes. Well, and I would go so far, all of our waitresses are fantastic. I'm telling you, Pat's right. We've got the best set of people that we have ever had, and I hope it stays that way. But
they're all hard workers.
If you've been here and you had a waitress, you're going to ask for Christy. We get nothing against our other girls. No, they get people too. But Christy, we have to tell Christy, okay, Christy, you spent 45 minutes at that table. You got to do something else. Which is that's what you want. Yeah. She has a relationship with her customers,
and she wants them to be happy works in anything. One of the funny things about her is we used to steak night at the hotel's a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we used to cook steaks to order, rare, medium rare, however you want it. Well, we quit that, and now all our steaks are medium rare, and we preach to our employees: do not ask anybody how they want their steaks cooked. If they want a steak, they're going to get them as close to medium rare as we can do it. That's the way it is. And that's what we want our steaks to be. And if they don't like medium rare, they should order a cheeseburger or chicken fried steak or whatever. But that's what we want. Christy, we've been doing that for 4 years now. She can't do it. She can't.
Because she wants
them to be
the
happy.
customer to get what they want.
She wants them to be happy,
Yeah.
and she just, it's not in her heart not to do that, you know. Because anyway, she's the very best.
I gotta
Neatest lady in the world.
share a story with y'all too, because that reminded me. Brandy and I were in here one night, steak night, several years ago. And Neil came up to the table, Neil Edwards.
Yeah.
He was helping y'all cook. And he was talking to us, and they were getting ready to order our steaks. And Brandy said, "Neil, I need you to cook my steak medium." And he says, "I'm not going to ruin your steak. I don't ruin any steak." But we were laughing about that, and I thought that was kind of a cool deal because, you know, again, of course, it works well for me because that's exactly how I like my steak cooked. But anyway, that's a neat little part of a deal that I'm glad you brought up. The other thing that I wanted to just hit on right before we kind of end this interview, but is, you know, as far as the community and the impact that y'all had here, I want you to know that you're also having, it's not really a question, a comment I wanted to tell you. I go very few places anymore where if it comes up in conversation and the hotel's mentioned that people don't know about it. There are some that haven't stayed there, but nearly I just really haven't heard anybody that's making any negative comments about the hotel.
Well, there probably are some.
Well, I'm sure with anything, if you're doing anything, if you don't have some of that, you're not doing anything.
Right,
but at the same time, I mean, just tons of people that have said, "Man, we went and spent a weekend there," and you know, I think if everybody could have their others and could go all the time, you'd have people here all the time. I mean, it's just hard to get away. But I think it's one of those little spots that everybody says, you know, I want to get back down there. Yeah. And so you guys are doing that and doing a good job of it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Well, guys, y'all have anything else out there on y'all's end?
No, I think y'all covered it all very well. So.
All right. Well, we're going to take a commercial break. Pat and Tina are going to stay with us. We're going to come back and talk about things that make you think, and then wrap up with our trivia. So y'all hang in with us. We'll be right back with Gun and Saddle.
For all the reasons we at Realtree United Country Hunting Properties can list to buy your own hunting and recreational property, these have to be at the top. Contact your local Realty Land Pro and turn your passion into possibilities.
All right. Okay, so Maddie, give us our intro for things that make you think.
That was a really long little sound.
Well, I was playing with the sound effects this week, so I was wanting to do that. No, this is the time of that show where I always have to be Mr. Controversy, but I like to bring up things that just come along during the week that have made me think. This week I was actually watching a kind of a old goofy reality show that was on, but they were talking about the Cowboy Code. And, you know, it made me think because, you know, in one part of the show, it was the deal, a guy had gone through a gate. He didn't shut the gate. And he got reprimanded for that. And the cowboy told him, he said, you know, that's Cowboy Code. You leave it like you found it. But it made me think. I thought, you know, that has always been something I've heard too, you know. And that's basically applied to put things back like they were. But it's also got me to thinking a lot, talking a lot about the world we're living in.
Well, they disappeared for a second again. There they
Sorry
are.
about that. I don't know. I had my phone turned off, but it keeps trying to call us during this. But anyway, we've been living in a world that's been a pretty good mantra. But I was listening to a presidential debate not too long ago, and I heard a guy say something I thought was pretty genius. And he said the dogmas of our past may not measure up to the challenges of our future. And I think we're at a point in time where, in our generation, that Cowboy Code's got to go a little further. Instead of having that mindset, I think we might ought to look at things and say, instead of leaving things like you found them, maybe we need to put things back like they ought to be. And there's just so many things that you know, I started applying that to, and I thought about that. And I don't know if that's making your brains kind of spin, but, you know, I think in this day and age, we know that we've lost some ground. And I think that, you know, it's really been cool that this week we've been sitting here talking with Pat and Tina Carson, because to me, they're folks that are not just leaving things like they found them. They're putting them back like they ought to be. And I you know, what do you guys think about that thought?
I think it's great. I mean, we've always, like my dad and Stacey have always said, you know, when you borrow something, you take it back in that shape or better. You
Yeah.
don't ever.
Yeah. Well, and I think the reality of it is that the reason we're at where we're at, and not to be downtrodden, I think there's a lot of good that comes out of opening your eyes to things, but is that maybe we didn't always put things back like they used to be. Because there were some people that worked really hard to get it to a point in this country to where if we'd have just held that line, we probably would have been okay. But there's a lot of things I think today that we know, and that's something in our business that I try to kind of preach to our agents, is that we're not kind of after the status quo. And I don't think, like listening to you guys talk about running this hotel, I mean, I love the idea that you say you go and you look at what other people do, but then Tina said, you know, the business plan is we just do whatever we need to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that kind of thinking is what's going to be the thing that makes this a good place for our grandkids and great grandkids someday. And I just, you know, that these thoughts, we have these every week. I always have to put my little deep thought out there. I always remember those Saturday Night Live deep thoughts, you know. But, you know, this week I thought, if you're going around and you come up on something and you realize that, hey, you know, I need to leave that like I found it, maybe think about if you can make an improvement to it before you walk off. So.
Yep, I think we try to do that daily here at the hotel. I mean, that's an easy example because it's an old thing and it needs improving. But you know, I hope people take that away when they leave too.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they probably do. Girls, y'all got anything in the audience on that before we move on? Because you know what's coming next. It's time for trivia.
Can't claim
And this is going to be a fun round of this. I don't know how many people we got online joining us online, but if you're out there and you want to comment, you can answer in the comment section of Facebook or YouTube.
Lonnie's being really secretive with this trivia.
Maddie usually tries to cheat in the
I
studio.
do not cheat. He always acts like I do because I'm just so dang.
Okay, so we're going to have 5 trivia questions. It's like I explained to Pat and Tina. These are basically things that will not make you a dime in life, but we're going to see how good your general trivia knowledge is. So question number 1, and I'll give you 4 choices. Who painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling? Was it A, Picasso, B, Da Vinci, C, Michelangelo, or D, Van Gogh?
C, Michelangelo.
Maddie says C. Carrie?
I'll go with. I think I'm gonna go with Maddie.
With which one?
With C.
Michelangelo.
With C. So 2 for C.
I'm C.
C.
See.
Consensus is C.
You better be right.
Ding, ding, ding. Y'all all got that right. So we're tied.
Good job.
Did
Maddie.
anybody pop an answer in online on that?
No one popped one in on that one.
Okay, well, here's question number 2. In which state did the Salem witch trials take place? Is it A, Washington, B, Virginia, C, Massachusetts, or D, Pennsylvania?
C, Massachusetts.
Carrie?
No,
She said C too.
Koree? It's Washington, Virginia, Massachusetts, or Pennsylvania.
Well, they probably know. I should probably agree with that.
We haven't done this with this many people. It's kind of like herding cattle here. We get one to move. Okay, you guys?
I'm C.
I'm in on C.
Yeah.
C. Okay, so far you guys are tied. And at some point. Okay, question number 3. I'm kind of giving y'all some softball questions today here. Which ocean is the largest? This could be a trick question. Is it A, Indian, B, Pacific, C, Atlantic, or D, Arctic?
Pacific. B.
Pacific. Carrie's nodding her head in affirmation.
I'm going to say Arctic.
You're going to say Arctic. Okay, so that's the last one, D. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm going to go with Koree. I'll say D.
D, Arctic. Pat?
I don't know why. I think it's Pacific.
Okay.
Braden Byers also said Pacific. He answered on this.
Braden
Well, then
Byers.
shoot, he knows.
Well, the
Yeah.
correct answer is the Pacific. So we've got a few folks that have moved ahead in the pack here.
There we go.
I was kind of trying to misdirect y'all, make y'all think. I thought somebody might say Indian, but anyway. Trivia question number 4. This is for all you folks that know what's going on in New York City. Which New York City building is the tallest? And notice I said is. Empire State Building, A. Bank of America Tower, B. One World Trade Center, C. Or D. The Statue of Liberty.
See the Trade Center.
I think I'm gonna go with B. I have no clue on this one.
B. Bank of America Tower. Okay.
I'm gonna go with B.
B. Bank of America.
That's what I want to go with.
Pat.
B sounds good.
Okay. The correct answer is C.
C.
Maddie, are you
Good
Googling
job,
these?
Maddie.
She does have a
Yes.
computer.
I'm
She
getting
is.
I think that was is that our third or fourth? That was
Is
our,
that,
that was
is
fourth.
that the same as a Sears Tower? Because I thought it was a Sears Tower.
That's in Chicago.
That's in
I think.
Chicago.
I
That's in
think.
Chicago.
Yeah. So 1, 2. Okay, this is our last question. I do have a tiebreaker if we need it.
I don't think we need it.
What does the
Carry this
E?
one.
Okay, I'm not sure any of y'all get this. What does? And I'm not going to give you a choice on this. We're going to see if anybody gets this. What does the E in Chuck E. Cheese stand for?
We need some
Like choices?
multiple choice. We need choices.
The,
I don't like the choices, so I don't want to give you the choices. I think the choices make the answer too easy.
Edward.
that's not fair.
I'll give you a clue. It's not really a name.
Oh, okay.
It might have something more to do with an aspect of Chuck E. Cheese.
Eat. The
Do you want to go with
eats.
eat?
I'll go with eat.
That's a good guess.
Anybody else?
There's choices and you're not giving them to us. It's not nice.
Maddie's getting dethroned from the lead.
Oh, I'm too ahead.
Somebody gets the answer. Y'all got to answer. What does anybody else think? E. Think of some words. Get out your dictionary.
Entertainment.
Of his egg.
Tina says entertainment. Does anybody else? Okay, so Tina has entertainment. You have E. Does anybody else have
Gary
entertainment?
said egg.
No, I said that's the only E word I can think of.
Is egg?
Everyone.
Okay.
Everyone is
Okay.
welcome. Chucky.
Anybody else? Okay, so the correct answer is C. Entertainment.
Good job.
Tina got that. I believe Tina may be now tied.
Five.
I think I meant to.
Okay, so I'm going to give y'all this one last one, even though it was the 6th question. I think Maddie may have won the trivia deal. But which country
She always
gifted
wins.
the Statue of Liberty to the U.S.? Was it A, Germany, B, China, C, France, or D, Italy? Pat, you're nodding. C,
C.
France. C, France.
I'll agree.
France.
Girls? All right, that is correct. So, all right, so that's just kind of a weekly deal we do. I know it's kind of silly, but thank y'all for being a part of that with us. We want to talk just for a few seconds about what we've got coming up on Gun and Saddle this month. I don't have this nailed down on a date yet. Of course, we'll have our broadcast next week, but coming up sometime this month, Tiffany Dow Lashman is going to try to be with us. They've just released the AgriLife Extension Service. She's legal, works in the legal part of that. They have just released the 2nd edition of 5 Strands, which is their book on Texas fence law. And I'm actually going to kind of visit with Pat and Tina before we leave, but I'm going to try to put together a roundtable with a couple of ranchers and have Tiffany on. And I think that'll be a really good episode where we can talk about some of the intricacies of Texas fence law, because I have found over the years that most of us don't understand that as good as we think we do. So that's one that I'm looking forward to. We've also got a couple of other exciting shows coming up. If you didn't catch our show a few weeks ago that Carrie and I did with Sue Fields with the USDA talking about some of their loan programs, I would really encourage you to go back to listen to that one. That one was one that I thought was really informative. So other than that, does anybody have anything else over in the Sudan studio?
I don't have
You got anything coming up?
All right. Well, if y'all don't have anything else, that's going to wrap it up. We'll see you on our next episode of Gun and Saddle.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching Gun and Saddle, a United Country M. Edwards Realty and Auction weekly podcast. Have an idea for a future episode, comments, or suggestions? Email us at comments@gunandsaddle.com. Remember to subscribe or follow us today. Join us again next week for a deeper look at the land we all love and the people that call it home. This is Gun and Saddle.